What did Eddie's passing teach or reveal to you, do you think, in your life?
Love. If there's nothing else in this world, go back to that key point that you know that you have inside you.
Think about it. Every time your career rises, you suffer through an early divorce. The public cancels you, and you lose a close friend. With all their fame, fortune, and special treatment, you would assume that celebrities had it easy. Valerie Bertinelli is a great illustration of how, behind their flawless personalities on TV, real life can often deal the harshest blows. The tragic events that have befallen the movie and kitchen star's life have had a devastating effect on her professional life, personal relationships, and self-esteem. Tell me Valerie's story, beginning with the most difficult obstacle she overcame. To discover out, continue watching. Valerie Bertinelli fought her own personal fights when she was younger, before she became a victim of life's worst catastrophes. First of all, she wasn't even born when her older brother Mark passed away. He was only 17 months old. After getting lost on a family outing to a friend's property, he died of poisoning. Unaware of its toxic contents, he drank from a Coke bottle he discovered. The Bertinelli family was profoundly impacted by Mark's passing. He passed away 8 months before Valerie was born. She came into this household as the third kid and the first daughter. The family's sorrow, loss, and shame overshadowed the joyous occasion of her birth. It wasn't until Valerie was a teenager that she learned about the unfortunate circumstances surrounding her birth. Her mother was still grieving at the time of her birth, as Valerie revealed in subsequent interviews. In any case, Valerie Bertinelli had a wonderful upbringing. To put it mildly, she comes from a pretty affluent family. Andrew Bertinelli was the esteemed chief executive officer of General Motors, and Nancy Carvin, an exemplary Englishwoman, was her mother. Drew, David, and Patrick are Valerie's 3 surviving brothers. The family relocated somewhat often throughout Valerie's formative years as a result of her father's busy profession. They remained in several places, such as Oklahoma City, Clarkson, Louisiana, and Claymont, Delaware. They made Los Feliz their permanent home in due time. This is where Valerie attended Tammy Lynn's School of Artists to hone her acting chops. She had no idea that her acting career would set in motion a chain reaction of tragic events that would affect the rest of her life. Now, let's discuss her acting debut before we get into it. In 1974, when Valerie was 14 years old, she made her acting debut in the short-lived TV series Apple's Way. Norman Lear, the producer, took notice of her amazing performance. He was so impressed with Valerie's skill that he placed her as Barbara Cooper on One Day at a Time in 1975. Starting at the tender age of 15, Valerie played the part for 208 of the 209 episodes that the show ran. After 9 fruitful years, the series finally came to a close on May 28, 1984. In this period, Valerie was nominated for 2 Golden Globes for Best Supporting Actress for her performances. She met and eventually married rock star Eddie Van Halen while she was a cast member of the program. Valerie gave birth to Wolfgang in 1991, while her career was at its peak following One Day at a Time. Because of its profound impact, the TV series is often considered to be among the best of all time. Valerie reunited with Bonnie Franklin, Mackenzie Phillips, and Pat Harrington Jr., among others, in 2005 for a special reunion event starring the cast of One Day at a Time. During their get-together, they reminisced about their time on set and talked about the difficulties they had working behind the scenes. They reminisced about the cast and crew, both present and past, and recalled some noteworthy incidents that transpired while production, such as the effects of Mackenzie Phillips' drug abuse problems on everyone involved. Valerie is well known for her portrayal as Melanie Hope Beretti on Hot in Cleveland, in addition to her legendary role in this adored series. Betty White, Wendy Malick, and Jane Leeves were among the many famous performers that appeared in the 128 episodes of this comedy series that ran from 2010 to 2015. Yes, there is more. Hot in Cleveland ended the same year that Valerie's home cooking debuted on the Food Network, marking her debut in the cooking competition series. Along with Duff Goldman, she started presenting the Kids Baking Championship. She won 2 Daytime Emmys, one for Outstanding Culinary Host and another for Outstanding Culinary Program, for her wildly popular culinary show. From 2015 to 2023, viewers could tune in to Valerie's home cooking. During that period, she co-hosted several food-related programs, such as Family Food Showdown and Family Restaurant Rivals. Concerning a more personal matter, Valerie's participation in the Jenny Craig diet program brought attention to her life's difficulties. In 2007, she became the public face of the diet regimen after appearing in several advertisements for it. After the publication of her 2008 book, Losing It and Gaining My Life Back, 1 pound at a time, her involvement became clearer. Her triumphs and tribulations, as well as the things that kept her going, were detailed in this book. Following it up in 2009 with Finding It and Satisfying My Hunger for Life Without Opening the Fridge, she continued her writing journey a year later. In her follow-up book, she discussed her experiences following weight loss and tackled the pressing issue of how to maintain the weight loss. Some tragic, little-known events in her childhood were also associated with her weight problems. Eddie Van Halen's marriage to Valerie added another layer of difficulty to her life. They crossed paths in 1980 during one of his concerts and hit it off right away. Eddie popped the question just 4 months later, and after a year of dating, they tied the knot in 1981. Their marriage caught many admirers, who considered Valerie as America's sweetheart, off guard because she was just 20 years old. Valerie and Eddie's relationship was far from amicable, despite how the world saw their marriage. She discussed their struggles with adultery, arguments, heavy drinking, and drug usage in her memoirs. Their already strained relationship became much more so as she tried to juggle her roles as a popular TV actress and the wife of a rock hero. She had to put up a brave front at work and seemed to be innocent and kind, while at home she battled the truth of Eddie's wild partying lifestyle. During an appearance with Oprah, she discussed her book and how difficult it was to relax and enjoy herself since she was always attempting to outdo Eddie. She claimed that she had lost interest in life's little pleasures until she stopped using narcotics. They broke up in part because she couldn't accept that Eddie still wasn't ready to kick his drug habit. Not only did Eddie continue to do harmful things like smoke after he lost part of his tongue to cancer, but she also said that their marriage had other issues than drug abuse. Outside of their marriages, Valerie and Eddie were both associated with other individuals. Things didn't improve when they attempted treatment. They hoped that being parents would strengthen their bond, but that was not the case. They were legally married for 20 years before they separated in 2001. Nevertheless, they did not file for a divorce until 2007. After 9/11s, they decided to separate up because they understood life is short and things weren't working, Valerie said. Despite Valerie's habit of staying committed for the sake of others, she did not remain with Eddie just because of their kid. She wanted a stable and loving family for her kid and said they weren't loving each other. She also spoke up about the challenges of her divorce and how, as a long-term coping mechanism, she turned to food. Only after becoming a mom herself did Valerie completely see the anguish and hardship her parents had in raising their children. Like them, she had figured out how to bury her emotions by that point. She frequently felt obligated to prioritize the happiness of others around her, even if it meant sacrificing her own health. It was far from over. Over time, this destructive pattern prompted her to resort to undesirable coping mechanisms, such as an unhealthy relationship with food and alcohol. She even battled a heroin addiction in the 1990s, as she admitted in her 2008 book. According to Valerie, those were the darkest days of her life because of the difficult times she endured. But that didn't stop her and Eddie from being very close as they grew Wolfgang. After 6 years of dating, Valerie finally tied the knot with Tom Vitale in 2011. It appeared like she had found love again, but their marriage was short-lived and led to an unexpected turn of events in 2021. We'll come to that later on, but first another tragedy befell Valerie in 2016. A fantastic professional opportunity presented itself to her, but she passed it up. One Day at a Time, a sitcom that Valerie and many others adored, will be getting a new adaptation from Netflix. The fans were just as thrilled as she was. The new program was planned to run from 2017 to 2019, but Valerie was unable to be a part of it. She even mentioned that she loved watching the previous show on Pop TV. She has a lot on her plate with her Food Network culinary program and other commitments. She wished she could have been on the new program, but her schedule simply wouldn't allow it. She wasn't quite prepared to go headfirst into acting again after a 5-year hiatus. She regretted not being able to be on the new program due to her hectic schedule, but she made sure to watch it and give it positive reviews nevertheless. Valerie said they couldn't resolve their issues and filed for a divorce from Tom in 2021. Although Valerie and Tom's legal breakup was in 2021, it revealed out that they hadn't been seeing one another since 2019. Although many speculated, none knew for sure why they broke up. When Tom requested spousal support of $50,000 per month and legal expenses totaling $200,000 during their divorce trial, some assumed that money would be an issue. This was in spite of the fact that they had agreed in advance that they would not get spousal maintenance in the event of a divorce. After their trial concluded, Valerie paid Tom $2.2 million, and she ranked the day she finalized the divorce as the second most wonderful of her life. To help herself move on from the painful memories, she sold her wedding bands and shoes once everything was said and done. On top of everything else going on in her private life, her reputation also took a beating. Some devastating news came to Valerie Bertinelli and her devoted admirers all around the globe in October 2020. She lost her ex-husband Eddie Van Halen to cancer. A 65-year-old man he was. For quite some time, Eddie had fought cancer. It all began in 2000 when his tongue cancer was diagnosed by physicians. It was difficult for him to undergo therapy. A significant portion of his tongue was severed as a result. Some years later, in 2002, physicians announced that he was cancer-free. Yet he secretly wed Janie Leszewski in 2009. Janie is now his publicist, although she was an adult film worker before that. However, Eddie's health continued to decline. For various ailments, he made frequent trips to the hospital. Diverticulitis necessitated emergency surgery in 2012. Later on, in 2014, he also dealt with throat cancer, which landed him back in the hospital in 2019. In addition to a brain tumor, doctors discovered that his disease had metastasized to his lungs. Because of this, his latter years were filled with misery and difficulty. His brother, only kid, ex-wife, current wife, and themselves were with him when he passed away. In a heartfelt homage to Eddie, the emotionally expressive Valerie referred to him as her soulmate. Whether he was fighting the disease physically or emotionally, she was always there for him. She said that a unique form of love remained between them even after they separated. A touching tribute to Eddie was posted by Valerie on Instagram. She claimed that 40 years ago when they met, her life was forever altered. Wolfgang, their son, was the greatest present he could have given her. His infectious humor and wonderful spirit were unwavering while he fought the deadly lung cancer. Being able to spend his last moments with Wolfgang and herself brought her immense gratitude. Unfortunately, not everyone was receptive to her message, so she said her goodbyes with the hope of seeing him again in the next life. They said she was being cruel to Eddie's current wife and trying to profit from his death, among other nasty things. Valerie addressed the cruel comments in an interview that took place in 2021. It seemed bizarre to her that people were making fun of her for being sad. She went on to say that she and Eddie had been friends for the better part of 4 decades. She wished the interview wouldn't revolve on Eddie, but she felt compelled to mention him since he was Wolfgang's dad and had blessed her with their kid, the greatest gift she had ever received. Unfortunately, the hate speech persisted even after Valerie came up. Wolfgang, who is Valerie's son, became frustrated because things didn't improve. Using forceful language, he defended his mom. The individual who left the hurtful remarks, he added, failed to comprehend the depth of his parents' love for one another. "They shouldn't pass judgment on his mom in that way," he added, "because they don't know his parents' relationship history." When online trolls began harassing Valerie for reasons unrelated to her loss, including her appearance, she encountered a brutal reality about the internet. She has a long history of battles with her weight and emotional eating, so this was very challenging for her. In an emotional Instagram video, she said the remarks hurt her and weren't helpful at all, and she couldn't control her emotions. Since she had problems with her self-esteem to begin with, she pleaded with others to be more kind. Because we may never truly know the struggles that other people are facing, she emphasized the importance of being more gracious, patient, and kind in the caption. A commenter named Wolfgang, who was her son, told her in the video that she was stunning the way she was. Also offering her support was popular singer Demi Lovato, who made an emotional comment about how much she loved Valerie and could relate to how difficult it must have been for her. Because of everyone's kindness, Valerie no longer felt alone, and she expressed her gratitude for the thoughtful comments in an Instagram story. Valerie felt compelled to provide even more details about her life after going through this. Officially launched in 2022, her second book, Enough Already: Learning to Love the Way I Am Today, was written by her. She wrote this book to commemorate the last moments she spent with Eddie, the man she referred to as her soulmate. Following their divorce, she spoke frankly about their romance. While promoting her book in another interview, Valerie revealed her deep sentiments for Eddie, describing her love for him as more than words could express, and praising his soul in particular. An unforgettable Thanksgiving gift from Eddie was one of the wonderful moments she recounted from her biography. Together, they had a meaningful talk, and he presented her with a kind present. It was a difficult period in their marriage, and he expresses his regrets in this heartfelt speech. Like everyone else, Valerie apologized for her own errors. At that moment, everything clicked into place. Eddie tragically died less than a year following this touching encounter. Their profound bond was demonstrated by Valerie's recollection of their last moments spent together. After Valerie and Eddie's divorce, she made it plain throughout her novel that their love was about more than simply passion. She loved their son's father very much, but she struggled to control her emotions. Despite her outward displays of happiness and independence following her divorce from Tom Vitale, Valerie's behaviors betrayed her true feelings. She had a history of using food as a crutch, and following the loss of Eddie and the divorce from Tom, she turned to it once more as a means of numbing the overwhelming range of emotions she was experiencing. There was more to come. There were many challenging occasions in Valerie's life, such as the loss of loved ones, despite her best efforts. The year 2021 came to a close for Valerie when her dearest friend Betty White passed away. Although many were grieving Betty's passing, Valerie felt its effects the most acutely. For 6 years, Valerie and Betty were co-stars in the television series Hot in Cleveland. They were fast friends throughout that period, and that friendship carried over beyond the show's cancellation. Valerie expressed her grief after Betty's passing on social media and in interviews, where she praised Betty for her kindness. Valerie found solace in writing online about her friendship with Betty and the ways in which Betty had influenced her life after her passing. Particularly, she wanted to honor Betty's memory and demonstrate her devotion to her. Valerie expressed her profound gratitude for Betty's compassion and her need for her company in interviews. It touched Valerie profoundly to hear that Betty was delighted about reconciling with her late husband. In an interview, Valerie discussed how Betty's capacity to rectify her mistakes encouraged her to have a more optimistic outlook on life. As a beacon of hope amid dark times, she drew strength and inspiration from Betty's unfaltering optimism. In 2022, Valerie discussed her continuous struggle with her weight during a television program. She claimed she understood the weight was a defense mechanism and that it will naturally go off as her mental and physical health improved. She opened up about her struggles with body image and weight in her book, Enough already, learning to love the way I am today. She claimed she thought her attractiveness was contingent on her weight. She believed she could improve her emotional state by altering her appearance. She now wishes she had given more attention to her emotional well-being rather than her physical weight. That's not everything. To cope with her low self-esteem, Valerie used to overindulge in alcohol and junk food, as she discussed in her interview. She was under the false impression that she needed to conform to societal standards of beauty for a long time. Despite facing her own challenges, Valerie frequently took to Instagram to condemn the actions of individuals who made others feel horrible about their bodies. However, rather than receiving many supportive comments, Valerie received several critical ones from people who questioned her sincerity. Some individuals were quite opposed to Valerie and other prominent persons discussing body image because they felt they contributed to the problem. Regarding her stint as a spokesperson for Jenny Craig and her bikini cover appearance in People magazine, Valerie was particularly criticized of saying one thing and doing another. Some felt that Valerie exacerbated the problem of self-esteem issues by endorsing weight loss methods and flaunting her flawless figure. Their argument was that other women would feel inadequate if they read Valerie's books and saw her talk about weight loss. Enough already. Learning to Love the Way I Am Today, Valerie's book, alludes to this internal contradiction. She came up about her motivations for being a Jenny Craig ambassador, a desire to be more practical and avoid dealing with her weight-related issues, and an interest in improving her health. After her breakup with Eddie, Valerie vowed not to accept any financial help from him and instead worked tirelessly to provide for her family. It was clear that Valerie cherished her independence when she decided not to accept financial support from Eddie following their divorce. She didn't see her opportunity to work with Jenny Craig as a means to promote dieting, but rather as a means to ensure her financial stability. While Valerie was focused on supporting her family as a single mother, she didn't give much thought to how her role as an ambassador for Jenny Craig may influence people's perceptions of their own bodies. Valerie admitted that she went to extremes like cutting out entire meals and exercising many times a day in her pursuit of a slimmer body. However, she eventually felt guilty about making it appear effortless, even though it was anything but. Since she hadn't given much thought to her sentiments and emotions prior, this got her thinking about the underlying causes of her weight problem. The news that Valerie's Home Culinary, her culinary show, will be ending after its 14th season was announced online in April of last year. She went on to say that the program had been canceled the previous summer, but she kept quiet about it in the hopes that the network would reconsider. The network's decision remained unchanged despite Valerie's long tenure as host and the show's strong ratings. However, she expressed her gratitude for the opportunity to present her own culinary show and bid farewell to the show, looking forward to other chances in the future. Also in 2023, Valerie let everyone know that she had to see a therapist to boost her self-esteem after marrying Tom. Valerie was no exception to the rule that employees' performance on the job could suffer when they are emotionally or mentally drained. Her career took a tumble as a result, and you're going to see how this set the stage for Valerie's second professional downfall. During its time on air, Valerie's Home Cooking had many famous guests, including some of her friends from Hot in Cleveland, like Betty White, Hoda Kotb, and Mackenzie Phillips. Valerie clearly poured a lot of heart into every episode, because these moments made the program seem welcoming and comfortable. The show received an unexpected nomination for a Daytime Emmy in April, despite its earlier-than-anticipated conclusion. Val felt a mix of modesty and gratitude for the acknowledgement. Valerie's fans were really surprised and upset when they found out she was leaving Food Network. Not only was Valerie saying goodbye to Valerie's Home Cooking, but she was also dropped from another show called Kids Baking Championship, which she hosted with Duff Goldman since 2015. Valerie was hurt and disappointed by this decision, which was because of money problems and business reasons. The announcement, made in January 2024, made Valerie think a lot about how unpredictable the entertainment industry can be and how important it is to keep going even when things don't go as planned. Valerie felt disappointed when she found out she wouldn't be on the Kids Baking Championship show anymore. She kinda had a feeling she might not be on the show when she wasn't part of the holiday specials, but it was still a big surprise when she got the official news. Even though she felt disappointed, Valerie decided to stay positive and not be mad at anyone from Food Network. She looked back on the good times she had working with lots of people there, and she tried to feel thankful even though she was bummed out. Even though she had some bad news at work, Valerie had some happy things happening in her personal life. After going through some tough times in her past relationships, Valerie decided to give love another chance. She talked about her new romantic relationship while she was promoting her latest cookbook, Indulge. Valerie really liked her new partner and thought their relationship was special, especially compared to how she felt when she was happy just being alone with her pets. Valerie and her new partner met on Instagram a few years ago, and she felt grateful that their friendship turned into something more. This made Valerie believe even more in the power of growing and healing as a person. Valerie can't stop talking about how great her new partner was, even though he was younger than her. She's very happy with him, and she wants other people who are going through tough times to know that they can find happiness too if they work on themselves. Besides focusing on her heart, Valerie decided to stop drinking alcohol at the start of 2024. She started with dry January and kept going without drinking in February and March too. Even though she might have a drink again someday, Valerie realized that not drinking made her feel better emotionally, helped her sleep better, and made her overall happier. Recently, Valerie was seen spending time with her son Wolfgang and his wife Andrea Alsop. She looked really happy and content, showing that she's feeling good about her life right now. Even though Valerie has had a lot of tough times in her life, she's still strong and keeps going. Valerie's determination to keep growing and finding happiness is inspiring, showing that even when life is hard, there's always hope for better days ahead. If you could give Valerie a word of advice and comfort for all she has been through, what would it be? Thanks for watching. Share with us in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and notification bell so you don't miss our next uploads. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this video with everyone you know who would love to see it.